Welcome to the Kaizorian Experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. We're going to be out here debating with some really interesting stuff. So, like the video, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe for the best experience ever. This is the biggest channel on the Afrosphere. So come and join the team, become a Kaizorian, and join the Kaizorian Empire.
Universally exist within myself, within this premise, and I exist within this bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like the blue in the sky. I'ma fly like bird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma throw my bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fight like bluebird in the sky. I'ma eat like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Back again like the second coming. Strumming my vocal cords like the hummingbird in the sky. Y'all can't deny this. Real rap lyrics, it's like I ain't got no rhyming through the sky limit. What is skin tone, shade of color, but a parallel form of frequency like a ringtone on your phone. Melanin expression, tied up in the universe, feeling like God. Is this really us? Is it serious? Is it really wrong to be diverse? I'm a divergent, immerse myself like an ocean beneath this waves. Be a divergent, born to be different. Indigo child, wild like canary. Born to be a bluebird in the sky, flying high like a bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Everybody scream bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. Everybody, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like born black, sweet like a berry. Flying high like a canary. Scary with my hoodie on. Hating on my vibe on the street that you'll be feeling my frequency of the song. But I know that I ain't never ever gonna be ever the same. But I know.
What's good, guys? Let me know if my microphone is fine or if there's issues in the connection. Right, I'm not in my usual harbor. Today's conversation is about is black, brown, or Muslim. Every war criminal on trial, color matters, right? Is there a purposeful racist intent to make sure that it's only niggas, the brownies, and of course the Muslims in general who actually get indicted? I don't see George Bush, Tony Blair, Hillary Clinton, or any of these other people that did and commit war crimes, right? Going war in Afghanistan and Iraq against weapons of mass destruction, as an example, when it really was a front to remove their leaders that the CIA had implanted, allegedly, right? So that's part of the conversation today. Why is it that it's always black, brown, or Muslim people that only get indicted? And this matters because it's these countries, right? These African countries that join the International Criminal Court. So the question is, why are they allowing it to be the case? Do these people not have a sense of their own identity, right? This is where Machiavellianism, unfortunately, fails at every level when it comes to black and or African people. They just simply can't contend with the simple facts of knowing how to maneuver and play the game at the highest level, right? So this is a list of people indicted at the International Criminal Court, and you can see the link over there. You can see Wikipedia. So go do your own research and chase up on their links, right? For resources if you want to be very specific, right? Look at this. It's a list of people who have been indicted in the International Criminal Court, right? Includes all individuals, right, on counts of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, aggression, or contempt of court in the International Criminal Court. That one is less important, right? It's like Come on, that's just some judge having a hissy fit, right? Okay, now there's something called the Rome Statute. Let's start with there, right? I know, people want to get straight into it, but let's start with the Rome Statute, right? What is this? Well, this is something that many countries actually signed, especially majority of African nations, right? Eritrea is not part of it, right? A few countries are not part of it. I believe Ethiopia is not really part of it either, right? But most African countries signed the Rome Statute, right? Countries such as Russia did not sign it. America didn't even sign it, right? So this is kind of interesting. America heavily supports this international criminal court when it's against other people, but when it comes for the American soldiers, America actually defends their own people very, very well, right? Even threatens to put these judges under house arrest and prevent them from traveling to America if they're not already there, if they ever try to put American soldiers on the list, right? This is the same thing that, let's go ahead, right? The Rome Statute, right? Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court is a treaty that establishes the International Criminal Court, aka ICC. It was adopted at a diplomatic conference, right? Over there. Shout out to one man. Where is your name on that list? On that list, Bantu. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, one man, for the £2 super chat. We do appreciate the support that we get. So the rest of you guys, make sure you support the channel the best way you can. You can send a super chat, and or you can come and share the video and do what's best. Shout out to Andre Reformed. What's good, Kaiser and Dusty? What's good, brother? Thank you very much. And also, I see that you're a member. So shout out to you and thank you very much for the support as well. So we're going to get straight into it, right? Why are African countries still part of this Rome Statute when it doesn't actually help them? They're the only people being, I already mentioned it, black, brown, or Muslims, right? The only people that are being indicted, and perhaps people, the greater Western societies, right? Which is really NATO. NATO does not indict themselves, right? Let's be careful here. And this is why I keep saying this, right? Black people, African people, generally speaking, don't have the ability to work in Machiavellian tactics. That's it. It's like we adopt a system, right? To us, we think the ICC, Independent World Court, or the International Court of Justice, or all these Scandinavian courts, we believe in them, right? We actually believe it's about justice. But when you realize that they are sending, nefarious things going on, such as only certain races are being indicted, you do have to ask yourself a second question: who is this court for? Who does it do benefit for? Right? That's the reality. We have to really think across the. Anyways, let's go ahead and read this Rome Statute. What it's for? The Rome Statute established 4 core international crimes: right? Genocide, crime against humanity, war crimes, and the crime of aggression. That's why, if you notice, right, with Russia claimed that they didn't state a war, or rather start a war with Ukraine. It was simply a military exercise, right? Because they would be in that International Criminal Court, there would be crime of aggression, meaning they, without so-called reasonable means, or rather reasonable reasons, went to attack Ukraine. And that's why the Russian president is under so-called fugitive statement, because there's an arrest warrant for him. Obviously, it's stupid because he's a sovereign nation, leader of a sovereign nation. Anyway, let's go ahead. Those crimes shall not be subject to any statute of limitation, meaning if you committed these crimes 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, if they want to prosecute you and they have evidence, they will. Or they think they have evidence, right? It's all a game, right? Under the Rome Statute, the ICC, right, International Criminal Court, can only investigate and prosecute the 4 core international crimes in situations where states are unable or unwilling to do so themselves. That's not true, because Russian state is not willing to prosecute, Putin, yet they've put him under that fugitive marker, right? So when you say they are unable to, you mean they don't want to, right? And this is the issue here, right? Africans don't seem to understand when these people who have Machiavelli tactics write things. So an African, they're actually going to believe what they're reading. Oh, unable to? What does that mean? Oh, the state is dysfunctional? Oh, the state doesn't have its own courts? No. Unable to can be interpreted, or are unwilling, right? Notice that unwilling, meaning that they don't care, right? So that's another issue when it comes to interpreting these things. The jurisdiction of the court is complementary to jurisdictions of domestic courts. That's a lie. The court has a jurisdiction over crimes only if they're committed in territory or states. That's a lie again, right? Um, that's a lie, right? As I mentioned, there's a lot of people here who don't even um, meet that standard, right? The standards and the law can be interpreted the way that the white man sees fit, and that's what Africans seems to not to not get. Shout out to Chuku Igwe says the general rule is that countries and the leaders of countries only get punished for war crimes committed in wars that they lose. Exactly, Chuku. That's it. Right? It's always about power. If you're going to win a war, there's not going to be any punishment. And not just winning a war, if you can reach some kind of agreement with the opposition party, whereby you still maintain power, etc., then they can leave you alone, right? It just depends on the specifics. But yeah, winning a war always guarantees you no no jurisdiction because you're in charge. Remember, this is these are leaders within sovereign nations. It's not like the ICC can just come and arrest them, right? Or without the people's cooperation. So Seed says, this is why we need different researchers and scholars the world over. Very interesting info. Shout out to you, So Seed. Now I'll provide the evidence in a minute, right? I've given my thesis, but I got to give the evidence in a minute. Chuku says, only the losers are held accountable for their war crimes. The key is not to lose. That's a great point. Or have strategic partnership with other dictators that will guarantee your safety as you guarantee theirs in the case that they lost, right? John Zola says, when the ICC opened up a war crimes investigation on Trump, he sanctioned them. Exactly, right? He sanctioned them. That's it, bro. That's what I keep saying. Africans don't seem to understand. They think there's some greater morality in this world when the reality is simple. It's simply a power game. United States said, if you open up an investigation on any of our soldiers, we will sanction you. That's how it should be done, right? It's simple as that, right? These are foreign sovereign nations that have their own power, right? The fact that these people actually think that they can indict you is madness, and it requires corporations of these African countries. And the issue is, these African countries, because of their lack in political as well as economic power, they're willing to simp for these people because perhaps the European Union will give them a little bit of money here and there, right? A couple $1 million, make them simp to a system that is literally just against them. No positivity at all. So yeah, we'll go here, right? This is a list of anyone who's been indicted, right? Through an arrest warrant or summons or anything else, right? So look at this, right? So the ICC has publicly indicted 52 people, right? Proceedings against 20 are going on and 15 are large fugitives, right? When they say fugitives, they simply mean 15 of them. I was like, bro, I don't recognize this, right? Like Putin is a fugitive according to them, right? Of course, he's not a fugitive, right? He's a president of a nation. That's ridiculous, right? But according to this, 15 people are fugitives, right? And 20 people, countries cucked and allowed people to actually go through this very humiliating process. Okay, and these are some of the countries. Look at this, right? Shown in the table below under column title S, right? We'll look at title S, right? Over there are the court's investigations into 17 situations, right? Situations meaning, country / wars or any sort of the definition of that term, right? So countries usually, but it could refer to a war or region that had a war. Look at this, right? Let's go. Oh, Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay. Uganda. Oh, look at Black African countries. Darfur. Ooh, Black African country. Sudan. Ooh, African country. Central African Republic. Ooh, Kenya. Right? Kenya apparently has like 5 or 6. Right? Libya. Look at that. Cote d'Ivoire. Mali. Central Libya. Right? Look, there's no America. There's no Hillary Clinton. There's no any American who was involved in giving standard issue American weapons to terrorist groups. Oh, look, the America's not there, right? Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Central African Republic, Georgia, right? Again, one of those dusty countries near Russia. Burundi, look at that. Bangladesh, right? Myanmar, Afghanistan, Palestine, the Philippines, Venezuela, and Ukraine, right? Ukraine meaning Russia, really actually talking about Putin. So as you can see, right, this is a very, very lopsided thing, right? They're all Africans, right? Apart from so-called a couple Russians, because of the issue that they're having with the NATO right now, right? Look at it, Joseph Kony. Oh, right, look at that. Apparently he's a fugitive. I don't even think that guy exists, but who knows, right? Raska Lukiwa. Do you know what country? You're gonna think Raska? Maybe it's Russian. No, that ain't no Russian. Right? Look at this, right? Raska Lukiwa was the third highest ranking leader of Uganda. Look at that. Okot, right? That's a Nilotic name. Odhiambo, right? Probably Uganda, right? Or Congo, right? Uganda and Congo. Oh, Dominique Ongwen, right? Again, another Ugandan, right? Vincent Oti. I can label it and you're going to just see blacks and Africans, right? Thomas Lubanga, again, another Ugandan type, right? Bosco Ntanga, again, another Ugandan type over there, right? Congo, Uganda, Rwanda, right? All that stuff. Ahmed Haroun, this one is difficult. It could be, it's Sudan, Darfur, right? Look at that. Ali Abdul Rahman, probably Sudan. Let's go ahead and see that, right? Janjaweed, that's a nigga from Janjaweed. Look at that, right? You can name it, right? Jermaine Katanga, that's a Ugandan name, right? Katanga is very Ugandan. Mathieu, whatever, these are the name again, Congolese, right? Jean Bemba, again, Pierre Bemba, probably Congolese, right? Exactly, Congolese. I'm going to go through this whole list, right? Omar Bashir, oh, look, Sudan, right? Abdal, again, there's a lot of Europeans who have committed so-called war crimes, but none of them are being sanctioned by anyone. Saleh Gerbo, most likely an African. It's not. Okay, it is. Was a chief of staff in SE. He was indicted in the criminal court. Let me see which country he's from. Abdallah Banga in 3 courts. Raid. Oh, against African Union. Again, African. This name I can't pronounce. Rwanda. Muhammad Ali, right? Again, Kenya, apparently. Right? Uhuru Kenyatta. Even our last president was indicted, apparently, in the International Criminal Court. So this is the kind of joke that keeps happening, right? Now, he won his case. He got the case dismissed, or rather got the case dismissed. The case never went anywhere, right? Lack of evidence, right? Maybe witnesses didn't show up because, I don't know, maybe the witnesses were fake. But this is a sovereign leader. And this is how they control you, right? They say, well, no, your president can't be president, right? Kenya, this guy is, under, again, during the time of his presidency, right? Under investigations. That's what I keep talking about, right? Africans have lack of power, right? Lack of the ability to just go out there and create something that benefits the African themselves. And I keep asking myself, is this genetic? Do we lack that sense of tiger spirit to go out there and rule the world and actually have our what is that we seek to be noticed? Again, guys, let's go through this, right? Uhuru Kenyatta, Henry Koske, right? That sounds like some Nilo in Kenya, right? Francis Muthuara definitely sounds Kenyan, right? That's some Kikuyu. William Ruto, again, our current president was being indicted for apparent war crimes, right? This is what I'm talking about. The lack of respect, the fact that Kenya has had 2 presidents, right? More than 2 people, about 5 or 6 people indicted officially in this so-called International Criminal Court. When America says the opposite, America says, if you try to indict any American soldiers, we are going to put sanctions on you. And this is speaking to the ICC. Do you think Kenya's doing that? No, Kenya's out there just, sucking his thumb while 2 of its sovereign leaders have gone through this very humiliating process. Chuku says, if victory has any meaning, the winning country has the power in the situation. So they'd have to consent to even take the lead. They do consent to this, and that's the problem. That's why I'm wondering, why do they do it? Is it because Africans lack that Machiavelli spirit of understanding that this is all a game? I don't think Africans generally understand that this is game. This is nothing to do with morality. American Black Holocaust survivor says, my cousin is in army, fought in Afghanistan. My brother is a master sergeant, meaning he trains soldiers for war. Shout out to you. Joshua Sang, again, Kenya, right? Muammar Gaddafi apparently was there, and they got rid of him, right? This guy is a Libyan, again, still African. Abdul Senous, Libya, Lorette, again, another African, Cote d'Ivoire, Charles Blair. Basically, I can go through this whole list, and you're going to see there's only like 2 Europeans, right? Vladimir Putin, or 3 or 4 of them, right? 5, I think, right? Vladimir Putin, again, Russia. Why? Because war against Russia. Maria Belova, again, Russian, right? Why? Because war in Russia and Ukraine, right? You got David Sakhanev, right? Again, we're talking about people from that similar area. Mikhail, again, Russian, right? And then we're going to talk about this one here. That's the last one. The only Europeans here who are being indicted are ones from what people consider Eurotrush countries that don't have projected power. So the question is this, right? And this is a question to the blacks and Africans. Do you allow this because you lack any sense of resolve? Right? Is this genetic? Do you not understand that this is why the world doesn't respect you? Right? Because you don't even want to, or not willing to take a step towards the right direction. You're not willing to do what it takes to end this very, very obvious oppression at a very, very abstract sense. Because to me, I'm just thinking this is a lack of resolve. It's a lack of actually any foresight. The fact that Kenya's had 5 people indicted, 2 of them presidents, right, is insane, and they should have put a stop to it. Right? Ethiopia is not part of that madness. There is complicity, and that's the problem. There is complicity. Those countries signed the Rome Statute, meaning they are in complete acknowledgement of this stuff. Right? This is insane. Right? And shout out to you, Rude Boy. I'll definitely check that out. Right? I'll definitely check that out. That actually looks very interesting. Thank you for the suggestion, actually. That shout out. Chuku says, in general, if soldiers were acting in their orders, nations aren't willing to prosecute them for that. Yep. If they went outside their orders to commit crimes, only well-disciplined countries would prosecute them, whether they won the war or not. Yeah, that's true. And also, but then again, there is the element of no country, apart from African countries, will be willing to prosecute soldiers because it's an embarrassment. Like, how are you going to send someone to die for you? And then not only that, you now start to prosecute them? That is bad behavior, from my understanding, of actually prosecuting your own soldiers, unless they did some crazy stuff, which we all understand is just evil, right? But doing what they need to do to survive, I don't want to be, I would not be too strict on my own people in a war that they risk their lives for. Shout out to you. I want to check that out right now, actually, very much. Eri Rude Boy, I do appreciate the suggestion. Yeah, what's good? What's good, Kidola? I don't know if you're ready to talk yet, but to me, I find that this is very interesting. Africans allow certain things to happen to them, which I'm kind of looking at it and I'm thinking this is why, one of the reasons why we are where we are. Yeah, we don't even value ourselves. But what's your thoughts on this topic and this conversation? Do you think that I'm tripping? Is Kaizo just doesn't want the truth to be there and he wants to protect bad people?
Africa will always be on that list because they don't have power. Putin is not going to. They can look. The Russians are not going to be in that kind of a state. These are superpowers, right? They don't put superpowers. The Russian name that appear on that list is just for kind of like threatening for him to stop the war, but it's not going to be there. These are 2 powerful countries. It's a powerful country. They can cause havoc everywhere. But the Africans, they will always be slapped there at any time. Not even committing the war crime, even just challenging them alone will put you on that deck. You know what I'm saying? We'll put you on that deck. Like what happened to the guy from Ivory Coast. He was there, but he didn't really do nothing wrong just because he challenged the French. The French used him as an example. But that didn't stop the other African leaders to chase away the French out of their country. We don't have the economical power. I said, there are some countries that are just beggars. The nearly all African countries are beggars. All. There's no one. Because you have to beg for IMF loan, to survive. We don't know. As it says something, I don't. Things are not just the way it is. Kazu.
Oh, you left. Kidola, come back. I think Kaizo's system, pardon me. Sorry, I'm carrying a bit of a flu. Yeah, sorry, let me mute myself. I was listening on YouTube. Yes, I think Kaizo's system dropped for a moment. He'll be back soon. Anybody that wants to come on, and then we can keep the conversation going whilst Kaizo rejoins us. So the backdrop to it, essentially the ICC or whatever it is geared towards caging and enslaving black people, and he's looking at it from the Muslim point of view. So I don't quite have the chart that Kaiser was going through, but I think that forms the backdrop to it. So if anybody wants to hop on as we wait for Kaiser to rejoin us. So the thing is, we sign up to all of these things, all these African nations, and they're compelled, by the way, to sign up to it. I've always said that the African space don't have the potency to fight back. So they're not meek or lily livered or whatever it is. They simply don't have the potency to fight back. So the continent has been divided in the way that it has been divided, and it's what divide and conquer sort of thing still in play when all these disparate tribes are converged together to form a country. So there's that internal bleeding, and then all of the resources that you can use as your power is not yours, and then you are beholden to these people. And then these people then, through what they describe as international organizations, tie you up to all of these rules, which Kaiser was just telling us that they don't abide by, but you are compelled by those rules. And with those rules, they continue to encircle you and cage you within a narrative that you had no part of. So you're not even a speaker in a narrative that compels your space. And I think that is essentially where Kaizo is coming from. It's still some sort of remote enslaved. By the way, the African continent is still very much in that phase of emancipating out of slavery. So I think we all understand the broad strokes of that, and that's still embedded in this narrative that Kaizo was fleshing out. So the links are in the comment sections. Anybody that wants to hop on. Kidola, you were there just then when Kaizo dropped. So if you want to jump back on, I think you were about to flesh out a perspective on this. I hope I'm being heard. If you're hearing me, indicate in the comment section. Just so I know that my African Rifleman, do you want to hop on? As and if people are hearing me, can you let me know that you're hearing me so that I'm not just whistling in the wind, sort of a thing. But that does form, this topic that Kaizo is bringing forward is just a soupçon of a wider topic. This is just a slice of a bigger, more complex, and certainly not nuanced. It is a binary topic. There's no nuance to it, and it's a topic of colorism. It is a topic. It's wrapped around enslavement. It is wrapped around might over right, and all of those sort of spaces. So yeah, that's really where this conversation embeds. But Kaiser has all of the data that he has prepared to flesh it out. So he will join us momentarily. I think our system issues, that backward country called Kenya. I've always insisted that Nigeria should go and colonize. Really, since we're in still this sort of colonialism and people in sort of some sort of virtual bondage, there's still other topical spaces that we need to open up as well. So there are certain states within the African firmament that you wonder if, for their own good, it is good for them to stand alone as a state. So let's take Kenya as a case in point. It's nice enough, it's okay enough, but where it is embedded with Ethiopia, Eritrea, and all of those sort of spaces, it's quite vulnerable. So would it serve a country like Kenya? Would it serve it better if it was just, it was not just, though, but if it was just, it was essentially a protectorate of Nigeria. So an outpost of Nigeria that has some sort of a quasi autonomy, but really has its direct supervision from Nigeria. So I think somebody is telling me that Nigerians are already colonizing Kenya, but should we really formally rule them is really the thing. Just to maybe some sort of Nigerian, maybe we have, like we had in the First Republic of Nigeria, a ceremonial president and then a prime minister. So the ceremonial president will perpetually be a Nigerian, but the person that wields the power in Kenya will be some sort of a native, some local from that space. So there's that possibility, because you wonder if countries like Kenya, like Togo, like Benin Republic, and all of these nondescript sort of countries really should be described as a country. So that's a conversational space to open up for the future. But what Kaiser was bringing forward for discussion essentially wraps around the war criminal sort of space. So the title he's brought forward: always Black, brown, or Muslim, every war criminal on trial, color matters. So color matters anyway, and that's just yet another example of how color does matter. As we wait for others to hop on, I think somebody actually sent a link for Kaizo to have a look at. So maybe we can have a look at the link whilst we await Kaizo to come and retake the center stage. So whoever sent this in, maybe you want to come in to come and speak to us about what this tells us. This is from all right. Is that you back, Kaizo?
Yeah, that's
all right. Back to you.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My data went off because I didn't pay for it or something. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me go through some of the chats. And also, guys, the line is open if you want to come and add to the conversation, what you think, if you want to build. It's all up to you. So I'll just go through the comments, right? Kaiser, there was a climate change summit. Yes, that's interesting, right? I have actually made a short video about it recently. COP, whatever they call it, just happened recently. Yeah, I'm gonna delve into it. I might give you a link to my other channel. Simon UK says, if the ICC is arresting people who are committing crimes against African people, so what? They're protecting our people more than us. Now, this is an interesting issue there, Simon UK, right? One can analyze your statement in different ways. Yes, if they're arresting people, based on harming Africans, fine. But here's the issue. They're not arresting Tony Blair. They're not arresting Hillary Clinton, who did harm our people. All these people who are actually, United States or any of these countries who do commit war crimes, right? How many war crimes do you think the peacekeeping force soldiers have been committing? Why do you think Congo had to push them out? Why do you think Somalia had to push them out? All these people are committing crimes every single day. The problem isn't that, right? And here's the issue with the, extreme Afro optimism while functioning within white man systems. It doesn't work long term, because what ends up happening is you start ruining your image around the world. You start becoming the dumping ground of the world, and you don't have any geopolitical weight. That is a serious consequence. Ekofo Yori Tight says, Kaizo, I was on TikTok. There was a debate between Somali women complaining about Somali men, how they treat them horrible. Some said they are jealous of Nigerian women because Nigerian men treat them good. Okay, that's interesting. Shout out to America First Rifleman with the $2. Appreciate you. Salute my fellow Africans. What's good, bro? I really do appreciate that. John Zola says, well, I think they're having their own conversation there, so I'm not going to go into it. Nope. Okay, bossing around white people. Shout out to you over there, right? Chuku says, Henry Kissinger orchestrated war crimes in Cambodia and East Timor, overthrew democracies and killed millions. The author of Christopher Hitchens outlined this in his book, The Trial of Henry Kissinger. Interesting point. makes an interesting point. Simon says, I wish Nigeria was enough of a functional country to colonize Kenya. Well, shout out if they could, that would be great. I have no issues there. Kaiser brings great points of views about Africa. I hope you said great. I don't know, man. Over there, that's definitely sounding a little bit sus. Oh yeah, and also shout out to One Man. Thank you for taking over and keeping us good. I do appreciate that. That is just bad behavior, right, from East Africa. Kaizo, Connect Log TV. I'm not too sure if I know them, right? But yes, I've heard of it, right? And this is the reason why Putin couldn't even go to the BRICS meeting, the last BRICS meeting in South Africa, because South Africa is a member of the International Criminal Court. So how are you going to be South Africa and claim that you want to free yourself from American imperialism, and you are still part of this? It doesn't make sense, right? There's no logic to a lot of the stuff that's happening around these areas. If you are going to be someone who says that you want to be free from American hegemony, right, then you have to be truthfully independent, right? How are you going to create a new crew, right? And then that new crew is unable, right, literally unable to actually get anything done. To me, that's just embarrassing. That is just embarrassing for me, right? I don't see any positivity from it, right? All I'm seeing is just coping, right? Different African nations wanting to feel that they're free, but unable to actually go out there and actually make the world the way that they see it, right? And that to me is a failure. There's absolutely nothing admirable about what's going on in the state of African countries and how they allow themselves to be cucked, right? Purposely joining a group that only sees your type and your people as the negative. To me, it just sounds like the biggest cuck, 100%. Everybody says the Ken YouTube channel where the street interviews. Okay, I'll check them out. I'll check them out later on.
Union has said it will defend the International Criminal Court against attempts to undermine it. The EU is the latest institution to stand behind the court after Washington sanctioned top officials in The Hague. Now, the ICC's chief prosecutor, Fatou Bensouda, and her top aide, Pakiso Mochokocho, have been blacklisted by the Trump administration over the court's investigation into whether US forces committed war crimes in Afghanistan. Now, on Wednesday, the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the sanctions on Bensouda, accusing the ICC of continuing to.
That's how you do it. Oh my, right? That's how you do it. ICC puts, right? ICC decides, hey, look, guys, we're gonna be racist against you, right? We are gonna be racist against you. ICC says, we don't want no white people being indicted, right? So we're gonna go for the easy pickings. We're gonna go for you darkies, right? You Muslims and all the undesirables of the world, the brownies, right? And talking about no chocolate chip cookies. And you know what? They're gonna even put you and give you, someone for the face. They're gonna give you a black woman, right? Independent stone black woman who's gonna be there as a simp, right? That's how they operate. That's it, right? There's nothing, interesting about how they operate. This is just it. This is just how they operate. The black woman is there for show, right? She's there to show you that actually a black woman can make it, and you niggas believe it. You believe that there's something virtuous about black, strong, independent black woman making it into this angle, and that is the blasphemy, my guys. That is the blasphemy. Right? It doesn't get worse than that. That's it at its worst. And you've got no excuses. Simon says the ICC hasn't indicted anyone who didn't deserve it. Well, actually, it has, right? Ruto, president of Kenya right now, he's out, right? I'm sure you know what the word indicted means, right? The president of Kenya again, Uhuru Kenyatta, was also indicted. Obviously, nothing went forward because there was no evidence for the cases. No, that's not how it works, Simon, right? Again, you're one of these people somehow believes in Western hegemony instead of looking at it as a power game, right? Again, that's what I keep saying. Africans seem to lack this comprehension of whatever Machiavelli wrote about the tactics and the art of war by Sun Tzu. You niggas just think the world is all about right and wrong, and what powerful people tell you is it's interesting.
Target Americans.
In June, the Trump administration authorized the imposition of economic sanctions against foreign persons directly engaged in ICC efforts to investigate U.S. or allied personnel and those who materially assisted in that effort. Today, we take the next step because the ICC continues to target Americans, sadly. Pursuant to Executive Order 13928, the United States will designate ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda and the ICC's head of jurisdiction complementarian cooperation division, Fakiso Mochichuko, for having material assisted prosecutor Bensouda. Individuals and entities that continue to materially support those individuals risk exposure to sanctions as well. Additionally, State Department has restricted the issuance of visas for certain individuals involved in the ICC's efforts to investigate U.S. personnel.
Okay, for more on this, DW's Tomi Oladipo joins me at the big table. Tomi, good to see you. So tell us a little bit more about the sanctions that Fatou Bensouda and her top aide are under.
Well, the U.S. is not signatory to the ICC, so it can't withdraw in protest when something happens. The ICC has no assets that the U.S. can freeze. So what does it do? It targets individuals from the ICC, right, like Fatou Bensouda.
And that's what I keep saying. That's how you play a power move. Right, that's how you play a power move. First of all, America never signed the Rome Statute, right? And they never cut themselves into this whole New World Order BS, right? About all countries, all the 204, God knows, right? How many countries there are, right? It's always changing, right? All the 200 and whatever countries that exist coming together, fighting against oppression, against wars, defining all these statements. America's like, nah, I'm not signing that. But guess what? I'll use it in my favor to go for countries that I don't like, but I myself will never allow it to happen to my people. That's called self-respect, right? That's self-respect. America said, no, we're not going to do that. America said, we are not going to do that because that does not actually add value to our economy. America says, we will sanction you, right? We will put sanctions on individuals in the ICC so that they stop this investigation. That means that lady, for example, can't go to America. If she goes to America, they can freeze her assets, right? They can take her money, right? And money matters, right? America is doing this because they have power and also they understand interest and they understand that ultimately this world is not about what someone thinks is moral, but really what they can control and what they can keep alive, right? That's the situation.
Now, these sanctions put her and her colleague under a list of specially designated nationals and blocked persons. And this list includes members of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, drug dealers. That's the kind of company that she's considered under. Now, if you're a terrorist hiding somewhere, that's different when you're under this list. But
yeah, it's different. Okay.
If you're somebody who's going around in the streets, traveling, trying to conduct business like Fatou would be doing, then you're locked off.
Yeah, if your business is against the interest of the United States of America and you're trying to indict their soldiers who fought for their nation, and this is how you do this whole Pan-Africanism if you're going to do it. You can't be cocking yourself to some higher ideals that nobody else follows because it doesn't lead you to anything. It just leads to self-destruction. America is doing it the right way. That's how I would do it, right? I would go and protect the people that went to war for me, right? Again, it depends on the context, but generally speaking, African countries are some of the most cucked countries that exist at the moment, right? Simon says, Ruto was indicted and the case was dropped. Bashir, Gaddafi, and Taylor's, well, you said everybody who's there deserved it. You didn't say some of them don't deserve it. You made a very clear argument, right? You said everybody who's on the ICC deserved it, right? That was a very, very specific point, Simon. That you didn't say, you didn't make an argument saying, well, most of them this, or some of them that. No, you said everyone there deserved it, and that's where the error came.
And this essentially cuts her off from any U.S. business that operates, and that's to add to the fact that she's already had her visa revoked. That was done in U.S. visa in 2019.
Right. Okay. So, Tomi, I remember the last time the U.S. went after an African holding position at a senior organization, the WTO's
WHO.
WHO. There we go. Thank you for that. He was under attack, and we saw virtually every president on the African continent jump out to his defense. This looks like a similar thing to me, right? You have this African woman under attack, essentially, for the work that she's doing. And nobody's saying anything on the continent.
The difference here is that the ICC has targeted some of these African countries in the past, relating to some of its cases when it comes to genocide, when it comes to war crimes. Right. And in fact, in 2017, the African Union backed a mass movement in Africa to exit the ICC. A lot of African countries felt that the ICC was targeting African countries. And so if you look at cases like Omar al-Bashir, former Sudanese president who was under an arrest warrant by the ICC. You also have Kenya's president Uhuru Kenyatta as well, who faced charges. Those are just some of the examples that African countries felt were unfair.
Okay, let's talk about Fatou Bensouda. As we mentioned, she is the ICC's top prosecutor. Let's talk a little bit about her tenure at the court.
Well, Fatou Bensouda is the second ICC prosecutor. She followed Luis Moreno Ocampo, who's an Argentinian. And under his tenure, there were about 12 investigations that were run, 10 of which focused on Africa. And so when Fatou Bensouda came into office, a lot of African countries felt, well, this is a way forward now. Maybe at least the ICC felt this would be a way of appeasing the Africans.
Okay.
And
you appease the Africans by sending a coon to go and prosecute other people, right? Now, ICC knows America can't be prosecuted because America will put sanctions. And ICC knows that they don't really exist. So America doesn't really have a way to actually prosecute ICC itself. All they can do is prosecute the lead prosecutors, right? They can indict them. America can do a counter indictment and say that they are terrorists, right? Put them on the terrorist watch list, right? Put them on no-fly list, right? Put them on, if your money is in American banks, it gets removed list until you stop doing the investigation list, right? So all this kind of pandering, putting blackface, especially black women, right? That is all for control, power, right? To make sure that these people understand that there is nothing that they can do against America. And I agree with America. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not here complaining and saying America is a hypocrite. No, America is not a hypocrite. America is simply playing the power game the best way it can, right? They understand that it's ridiculous for them to allow their own soldiers to be prosecuted in an international court by random people in Hague, right? So by a bunch of random Europeans that have got nothing to do with them. America understand that that's insane. America also understand that these people, according to their logic, is they recruit them as you're coming to fight for us. If you're coming to fight for a country, and then you end up suffering for fighting for that, what do you think the message is going to send? It's just going to send the wrong message. So the point I'm trying to make here is I agree with America. Sanction those who try to sanction you. Have that power, right? Have that conversation, right? Put yourself out there so that you're not just cucking for every single thing that you see around, right? I'm not going to be on the African side and say, oh, America is a hypocrite. America just does this because they can. Yeah, they do that because they can, right? And they should do it, right? And more African countries should do it. Right now, Nigerians are being blocked from entering into the Middle East, right? Saudi Arabia is blocking hundreds of Nigerians. The Nigerian government should be doing the same. Yes, I understand there might be some money that they lose in the initial investment opportunities, but there has to be some kind of show of force. Right? I just mean for optics, right? Optics sometimes are important. I'm not talking about being emotional. I'm talking about optics. It will set a standard that will prevent this from being a recurring theme that we keep seeing over and over. To me, that's unholy.
it did go after other countries apart from cases in other countries apart from Africa. So she is actually nearing the end of her tenure. She should finish her tenure next June. But it's come at a time where, I mean, she has been looking she has raised her profile to a point, but I think with all these cases, the African attitude towards the ICC, the US, which of course is the major player in the world, also opposing the ICC, I think that tarnishes the achievements that Fatou Bensouda has made.
All right, Tomi, I mean, we must leave it there, but we know that the EU and various other organizations, the ICC itself, have come out damning what.
Yeah, shut up. I don't know if you're there, one man, but you say you keep missing out a crucial point. America has the power to do that. Does Africa not have the power to do that, though, right? Because first of all, how did America get the power? It didn't just happen. America wasn't born with that power. America became that powerful because of the moves that America kept making. Now, if other countries in Africa started doing the same, they would change the precedent. Ethiopia, for example, one man, is not in the International Criminal Court. They didn't sign the Rome Statute. How come Ethiopia is there doing that? And shout out to Ethiopia. But South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, actually, I don't think, no, Nigeria is signing these things. These countries are out here signing it. It's because Africans believed that the International Criminal Court would make things fair. It's one standardized court system that anyone, regardless of how dusty your country is, can come together and fight against corruption, fight against wars and terrorism. It's going to stabilize these African countries because, dictators are going to be afraid of being indicted by the International Criminal Court. So it would create some kind of peace and stability, right? That's what Africans were optimistic. Right? They came in this fresh. They were like, yeah, Dwight Mann is creating a system that we can join. Right? They were so excited. And then you look at the list that I presented and you see the embarrassment of Africans just bending over for a system that not only wants them destroyed, but has no net benefit intentions for them, right? That's the issue that we're seeing here, right? ICC has nothing positive to do with Africa. ICC only indicts Africans, right? And a few, Eurasians, like people from the Middle East, right? This is purpose. This is purposeful. And there's really nothing else you can say there, one man. It doesn't. I cannot think of an argument that will support your point of view when you're staring at this straight ahead. Chukwu Igwe says, nation states operate in conditions of anarchy. The only way to ensure your survival and continued existence is to become the most powerful nation and throw your weight around hierarchy versus anarchy. Very, very interesting point. I do like it. I think it actually hits onto what's really happening here. One man says, no, wrong. They did not think it was going to lead to any fairness. Oftentimes, signing these treaties are tied to other obligations. So you're trying to say that African countries are not free? African countries have to sign it? Then how come Ethiopia decided not to sign it, right? Ethiopia seems to be the only free African country, right? They weren't colonized, apparently. They didn't sign these very weird treaties, which don't benefit them. And they're trying to control themselves and their country's economy. When they have internal strife, they don't even allow for internet so that, information can leave the country, what they call misinformation. So Ethiopia seems to be one of the few countries in Africa that still has a backbone. So why them? They're poor. Just like, in fact, Nigeria is richer than them. Nigeria has a higher GDP per capita than them. Nigeria has a higher GDP than them. So why is it that it's Ethiopia? Are you trying to say that intrinsically that Ethiopians are smarter than other Africans? Simon says, Africans are a mass murdered without condemnation. Africans are, okay, let me read that again. Africans are mass murdered without any condemnation in Africa. Sent hundreds and thousands of illegal immigrants to the West, beg for aid to look after refugees and demand they mind their own business. Why? Okay. One man says, Ethiopia was colonized, by the way. Don't be part of that propaganda. Well, that's why I said apparently, right? Apparently, according to the definition of colonization, they didn't meet that definition, right? That's the main thing there, right? Ethiopia apparently did not get colonized, right? Ethiopians still, never fully got taken over by one country. They still practice their traditions, their language. The rest of Africans speak English, right? They only speak Amharic and the tribal languages. You're not going to see Ethiopians en masse speaking English, right? They're very proud people, right? Very proud, and there's a reason why. Because if you look at their history, it is superior, right? The history is not one of dust. The history is where you look at a situation and then you're just like, nah, Ethiopia is superior. There's just something special about them. Something special. Yeah, you cannot ignore that one man. Right? One man says, they are poor, noble poor. Okay. Now, they might not have the most, economic power, right? But they are doing well. Right? They're setting up the standard. Right? And that's what matters a lot some of these times. One man, Wentimo, says Italian they speak is indigenous. They actually don't speak Italian, one man. That's the thing. They don't. You're talking about Eritrea. Ethiopia is just Amharic. Right? I'm sure there's one nigga that speaks Italian, but no. Ethiopia is Amharic. That's the national language. And then, and then the next language is, like Oromo or some of the other, native languages. But basically, Eritrea is the one that speaks Italian. Ethiopia was never colonized. Ethiopia fought so that their people out there never actually got to that level, right? That's the difference. Right? One man, you can cope all you want, but Ethiopia is a different beast. Ethiopia is just a Chinese version of Christians. Yeah, okay, that's an interesting point of view. I'm not fully comprehensive of what that means. I'm sure there's context there. Simon says, why are you defending despots? We love to complain about until someone wants. Because, okay, let me make this clear. Yeah, there's several reasons why. Right? If they are despots, that means the West is in charge and or contributing to their power, right? The power base is in the West. If the West removes them, do you not think they remove them because they have interested parties who are more in line with their interests at that time? Meaning, at the very best, your argument would be neutral to the point which is America put, what's his name again? Saudi? No. Hussein, right? The West put that Hussein guy in power, right? And then they took him off. That's all the argument.
Why are you calling me, man? Why are you calling me this guy? Why are you calling me?
I got a question for you, Musanda, right? Africans are the only people indicted in the International Criminal Court. Why are you guys still part of the International Criminal Court? You will not see a white man indicted in that system.
I mean, a lot of countries are trying to get out. Estee was trying to get out, but the Supreme Court actually refused. You're right. It's stupid. It's not. It's biased, of course, especially with what's happened with Ukraine and Israel and stuff. I know that certain countries have opened a case on them, but I don't think they're ever going to go forward. So I don't know. I think that's also a good thing because at least now it's more blunt that it's like not a real organization. So it's just going to decrease its validity on far part. You know what I mean? And the bias is one of the good things about this war is that it shows how biased the world is. You know what I mean? And how a lot of these institutions are no longer given respect. That's why someone like Elon Musk is like bold to say fuck Disney and stuff because they do evil things. Like nobody respects any of these organizations anymore. So that's good. Like they may exist, but no one respects them. But it's legit organizations.
Okay. I see your point of view. So basically, the Supreme Court is the one that's blocking them actually wanting to leave. So meaning, there's, it's kind of interesting, Musanda. Isn't this where then Africans can actually finally be right and say that there are powerful people that are in control of like powerful leaders who then make them vote or make, decisions in a certain direction? Because why would the Supreme Court want to stay there when
I
the
mean,
Supreme Court?
okay, so technically, if you're being technical, I think South Africa is the biggest supporter of Israel because De Beers is like headquartered in South Africa, and they're one of the biggest funders of Israeli machinery. So a lot of those diamonds that are mined out of Botswana, a lot of that money goes to Israel. That's why they had a problem with them getting like 30%. They had a problem with the government owning 30%, not 50, just 30% and not 15% of but is it 10? I don't remember, but whatever percentage. Just look it up. What percentage does Botswana own of the beers or profit? What percentage of profit does the beers does Botswana get from profit? Look that up.
Oh wait, which person?
Botswana. Look up Botswana. De Beers. D beer. DE then beer, like a drinking beer. Say Botswana De Beers ownership.
Okay, let me see. Ownership percentage. Let's see. Owner. Okay, just bring it.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
what
it
I
says
was talking about.
Botswana owns 15% stake.
Does it still own 15%? I think they changed a little bit.
Anglo American is holding
When
85%.
When was this? When is the article that you're reading?
This is
Read the one from
written
this
in.
year.
It's written in 2023 April. I don't know. Let me post it. The article. I haven't
There was
read
a
it
change.
properly, but
There was a change. I remember there was a change. Look up Botswana. Just look up Botswana increased ownership of DBS. Look up something like
okay. Let me see. DBA ownership percentage increase. Okay, I'll type in increase. Okay. Okay. The study shows. I don't know, man. It's difficult finding this new information you're showing me. Yeah, I can't find it, man. All I'm seeing is the 85%. To which is actually very embarrassing. Musanda.
say DBS. Say Botswana own 30% DBS. Right there.
Yeah, maybe one man can highlight that for us, because all I'm seeing is this one here. It says the DBS shareholder structure: Botswana 15%, Anglo American 85%, and to me that is crazy.
Yeah, and no, is it Anglo American or Anglo American Botswana government? Is it Anglo American or is it DBS? Oh, Anglo American owns shares of DBS. Oh shit. Oh shit. Because
Yeah,
DBS is a Jew-owned company. It's owned by Jews. It's owned by the Oppenheim.
mm-hmm.
They're the ones that send the money to Israel. So I guess the ownership was split between. They might probably sell the shares. I guess I don't know to Anglo American.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is kind of interesting.
Kaiser,
Go ahead.
sorry, but the way that he described it, like that was kind of anti-Semitic. YouTube will say the video might get blocked.
Yes,
especially.
But it's facts.
Especially,
it's facts though, but guys.
Especially in this climate that we're in now, you have to be careful about those sort of Do you understand what you're saying, Kaizo?
Okay, I get it. They own everything. I get it. Sorry, guys. I forgot you own everything.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I understand.
YouTube, on YouTube, you can say that.
Yeah, it's okay, Musanda. You can just say Anglo American.
Part of the owners and Africans.
But how did we
I
end up
understand
here
you guys.
anyway? I thought we were talking about how Africans are being unfairly treated by the ICC. And I was saying there's justifiable reasons for that. And Kaiser was saying they should fight back. And I'm saying they don't have the leverage to fight back.
They do have the leverage. You just are scared of the consequences. They do have leverages. The thing is just get Africans. Look, man,
Okay,
you
if
guys
they
are
have
just
the
not
leverage
fighting.
to fight back, then why are they tied into it? So Kaiser just brought us facts
Oh,
now.
that's easy. That's easy. The reason is because the African leaders do not want a distorted nation like Zimbabwe or whatever, where like they can't, they're so dethroned and they're so destroyed the economy that they can't control anything and they can't buy
Well,
anything.
then
Basically,
that
they
means
want satisfying in life.
that means they
They
don't
don't
have
want
the
to lose the power.
if they are still
They do have
beholden.
leverage. They
Where's the
do have
leverage?
leverage.
Where's the
They're just
leverage?
scared. No. The leverage is the fact that they can say whatever they want. It's not like someone's going to kill them. They're
No,
just
no.
scared
Can
that
they
they
back
won't
it
have an
up?
economy
Can they
left.
back it up? The backing it up is the leverage. Anybody can say anything, but being able to back it up is the leverage.
Yes, they can back it up. They're just cowards, basically. But if they were
Oh, it's
Arab or
very easy to
something,
say
maybe.
that,
Yeah.
though.
Man, come on, man.
Okay, hold on, Musanda. Let's walk through that. So the African countries are tied into all of these heavily weighted against them treaties in the international space, and Kaiser has just presented now stark documented evidence that just backs that up as a fact. So that's factually the case, and it's weighted against them. It's punitive towards them, and it encages them, it ensnares them, it enslaves them into some sort of a structure where the puppet masters pull their strings, visible for everybody to see, even them, so everybody can see them. So why do they still bind into that system? That's the thing. They are bound into that system because that system binds them, and they don't have the punch through to break out. And this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I get your point, but I'm saying that it's mostly a choice. Also, it's like let's not make it sound like they don't have a choice. They just are scared of the consequences. It's not like someone can kill them, or it's not like somebody's actually threatening. It's something that could like kill them per se. It's just that they just don't want to be like way more fucked up than what they are, because the amount of debt that Africa is too high, which is weird. That's just like they're taking your resources and everything, but you still have debt.
Let's take, for instance, some random African country. They're going to the World Bank to access some sort of a loan. And then part of the conditionalities of that loan is that they have to be a member of this sort of organization or the World Bank. They make a certain pocket of loan accessible to people who are members of certain types of organizations. And for you to be members of those organizations, you have to be bound to the rules and dictates of that organization. Now, for you to access that money, which you need, you have to be a member of that organization. The rules and regulations of that organization, they might not at first glance, they might not seem as stringent as will play out in the future. So you sign up to that, you access that loan. That's just a random example, by the way. This is just some of the ways that these things bind.
No, that's how they. I think that's how get it. You're right.
Yeah,
That's how they
yeah.
all like set up. It's through how you help them get a loan and stuff. They're very desperate for money, man. I mean, we can say it with the African Union. These
And
people
that's what binds them.
will
So
start
without
spending
using
ones.
the example of Ethiopia, a country in perennial poverty, and he's telling us that they are standing as the last man standing at the OK Corral. Who wants to be an Ethiopian or permanently on food aid? So that's not an example of taking a stance. They don't have the leverage, and we see what's happening to them.
They do have the leverage. They have boss. Both Eritreans and the Ethiopians will actually admit they have boss. Though. The people may suffer, but at least they have more boss than a lot of African nations. That's just is the truth, bro. You can attack them for having hungry people, but they have boss. They rather have dead people than
All right, you
be
take
like
that to the
Africa.
market. You take balls to the market to make a purchase?
No, I mean I get your point, but I'm saying let's be honest here. Like other people are not like us. Like they're not like Africans or these Bantoids and Niger Congoids where they just booty clap and like I say, oh, we're gonna go hungry, let's booty clap. Like people are not the same, man. Some people just have more balls. That's just is what it is.
Kaiser was referencing Machiavelli earlier on because it seems as though Tunisia has now placed that in his head. But one of the Machiavellian things, never outshine the master. Never outshine. You know what that means when they say never outshine the master? So, and another thing that Machiavelli also said is that when you take victory, you have to take it decisively so that you do not fear the person that you're taking that victory against. So you cannot, not having any leverage, trying to punch above your weight, then you end up like some Ethiopian type country as standing in some desert type place, holding yourself, telling us that you're proud and whatever. What are you proud of? You know, so Africa doesn't have the leverage. That's just really what it is. Don't you think?
Wait, one man, no. Are you delusional? Ethiopia have something to be proud of. It is the most oldest nation in the world. It is the only oldest nation who is black, like who is African. Like they have something to be proud of. You won't hear about, what do you hear about Ethiopian history? You won't hear that about the the Ghanaians, any other ethnicity in Africa.
Are you talking about their contrived history?
Yeah, and their history,
their contrived
and their
history, they are put together history.
They have a great history. You got to give it them. They have the best history in sub-Saharan Africa. Like you can't.
I've never cared about the history of any of this. I don't know why.
No. Yeah. He said one man. No, Mo said.
No, I'm saying pride has nothing to do with history. If you ask me,
it does.
Look at nations. It's something Africans, you internet Africans, fight for. We taught the white men how to buy.
No, it's not. It's not.
Pride. It comes. Wait. Pride comes in the fact that you are actually standing up for what you actually currently believe in, and on your everyday basis, you stand on business on what you believe in. That's where real pride comes from. Most Russians are not really proud of being Russians because they prehistorically were this big Soviet Union and whatnot. But the fact that till today they're still standing and they're still fighting the West, that's where your actual true pride comes. Your fight forward, not backward. And I think that's the problem with a lot of Africans.
No. You're making
wait. Yeah, let me just add this and then you address it as well. Ethiopia is not actually part of the their history is not part of the sub-Saharan history. Is more part of the wider Arabian sort of history. It's like an Arabian overflow history. That space is nothing to do with sub-Saharan history.
I'm sorry, but it have nothing to do with Arabia because they were Christian and they hated the Muslims.
Arabia, the Arabians, Christianity came out of Arabia too.
I know, but like no. When they had their civilization were Muslim at that time. But they stopped them. They didn't want to have it was a culture that was Christian surrounded by other cultures who are not Christian. Ethiopia was exactly
the Christianity.
Look, one man is right. It's a culture transfer for most part. Yes, he's right about
that. It's not an Africa. The Ethiopian history is not an African history. It's an Arabian history.
This is delusional. This is. What makes you say it has to do with Arabia? Because it is Ethiopia's mainland is in Africa.
It wraps around Christianity and all of those sort of structures, which are Arabian structures. That's from the Abrahamic cusp, which is the Arabian cusp.
Yeah, most of those stories happen in the Middle East.
I'm sorry, but you guys are making this so complicated. It's such an easy thing to understand.
No, but let's be honest here. Proud honor, like majority of the stories in the Bible, did they happen in Ethiopia or did they happen in the Middle East?
Ethiopia is a nation that is mentioned in.
No. Answer my question. Did they happen in the Middle?
No, but look, guys,
did they happen in Ethiopia? Did they visit? Did Moses not visit Ethiopia? Isn't that what happened? What's it? Like this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, one man. What do you mean it's Arabian? There's nothing Arabian about Oromo people.
Oromo, Habesha people, they're nothing about them. Are you delusional?
He's talking about culture. He's talking about culture, man. I mean, why is this even a debate, man? Yeah, why is this even a debate, man? Like it's almost like we're debating the things that is so generalist. Let's go back to the topic.
this is it's like common sense. Like you're complicating it by adding question to it. Don't do that. This is not Arabian history because they're black people and they're dark skinned people. They have nothing to do with the Arabs, quote unquote, and they
don't
don't
have
share.
black features. They don't have black physiologically. They don't have black features.
Okay. This is like this is like fucking
Culturally, they don't have
Let's
black
get out of this
features.
topic, man. It's getting stupid, man. This is
It's
getting
like
stupid. Let's go back to the topic.
one man. No, what you said there is like they're not black enough. You know, yeah. That's what you basically said. It's
No,
just,
no, that's why I said they're a Chinese
it's
version
really-
of a Chinese version of.
you know, they're the oldest nation in Africa, quote unquote. Like you can't say that they're not African enough. That's so stupid to me. You know, does it make
I
sense to
didn't say
you,
they
one
were
man?
not- No, I didn't say geographically they may well be African.
No, you're
but
saying they're not
culturally
black
and
enough.
physiologically, they might not well be.
How can they not be?
I don't.
enough for
I'm
the
not. I don't care.
geographic?
I don't care about. This is what I'm saying is stupid. We're talking now. We're mixing genetics into culture. I was just talking about culture, but if we're talking about Christianity, Islam, all these other things, that shit is from the Middle East. I don't know. That's why I say there's no debate on that. That story is mostly relying on the Middle East. That is not African. You can debate this topic on another channel on another day. But that is what it is. Even an Arab will tell you this, my man. That's why even that guy
Okay.
was
Let me
playing for
ask
Morocco.
you. Let me ask. Okay.
Right? But let's even get out of there, bro. Let's go back to the fucking ICC topic. Man. I don't know why you all want to focus on things that don't matter for most part, you know? Let's talk about the ICC. So yeah, look, maybe you're right. They are cooked, but they're not brave. I'll give Ethiopia the fact that they at least have some balls to be like, we'll suffer, but at least we have some balls in a long, long country. So I'll say that. That's what I was going to.
Is that balls though or stupidity? You know.
So let me add the context there, one man. So, okay, yes, you are correct that Amhara or the Habesha, these are Arabized Africans, right? They're actually 50% Arabs, and their culture is very similar. But if you look at the real Ethiopian history, right, Oromos are not Arabs, right? Yes, they have ancient admixture from whatever it is, but they're definitely not Arabs. And yes, good brothers.
Kaizo, it doesn't matter to one man. One man used a polemical strike in regards to a different argument completely. The argument here is, if you're in a particular position where you don't have quote unquote leverage, according to one man's definition, what is the next step to take? If you're quote unquote bound in that system that they are quote bound in, what's the next step to take? Musanda and everyone else seems to, or a certain kind of, let's say, masculine thrust will say, well, you got to start somewhere. You got to assert and throw down your balls and start somehow. How do you become the master if you do not first risk something, right? So the idea is, even if it's a risk of by conspiring, by planning to somehow break free, where do you start? And then this stupid side hustle of whatever the fuck Ethiopians are or not, and then you come in and you try to start to fuck. Well, what the fuck is this?
Okay,
sorry,
go
Ike.
ahead,
Let me ask Ike a question. Ike, have you ever heard of anybody winning a lottery without buying a ticket?
No.
There it is. So you have to be in the game in order to participate. So these are abstinence, non-conformist, whatever it is that you're trying to vaunt the Ethiopians on. It's just rank. And we see where they are now. They have no leverage. They have no borrowing. They have no structure.
But one man, let me come for you here. It cannot be the case that this whole exercise is about talking about how Ethiopia is a bad example of the next step forward. Okay, so you're in the game. You're Kenya or some other country, and you've signed up to something because you took a loan and you didn't read the fine print too much, and now you're in a bind and people can sanction you and such. What's your next step in this game?
Right. Your next step within that game is within that bind, you find other people that are equally bound, and then you form a mass in order to effect a change. But you have to be in order to effect that change.
Okay, so you go in and you're somehow subversive. You go in and you're somehow kind of recruiting people to join your side.
Studios.
Yeah, but there's too much magic, one man. All right, so you study, and then what? Like, when do you? Because it cannot be risk free. One thing we can say is that this path that you're describing, it's not just going to be some smooth, you study, you take all the right kinds of moves, and you just end up without at some point having to assert yourself and somehow take some risk, right?
Right. It goes back to that leverage thing that I was saying earlier. You can we agree on this first, so that we set some baselines for this conversation?